The Nuggets and Suns put on an absolute show last night. It was a fast-paced, high-scoring game, and Nikola Jokic made NBA history. Let's talk about it. Before we get started, if you could do me a huge favor and drop a like on the video, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future NBA and other sports content. So the Nuggets beat the Suns last night 149-141. So clearly, even though this game went into overtime, not much defense was being played, all right? But it was super fun to watch, man. Like I said, it was very fast-paced, high-scoring. This is the Suns and Nuggets, okay? These aren't two teams that are really known for their defense, but they are known for just being super high-powered offenses, and that's exactly what we got last night. Although the Denver Nuggets were pretty dominant throughout most of the game, they were up by double digits a good amount of the time. It was really Devin Booker that kind of surged in the second half that really brought the Suns back, and eventually ending up forcing the game into overtime. Devin Booker had 16 points in the fourth quarter alone. He shot 5 of 7 from the field, 3 of 4 from beyond the arc. So it was really his efforts that kind of brought the Suns back into the game. And it was a crazy sequence down the stretch. It was seconds left on the clock. The Denver Nuggets had possession, and Christian Braun just hit a huge three to put the Nuggets up by 3 points, thinking for the most part that they sealed the deal. But with, I believe it was about 1.6 seconds left, something along those lines. I don't remember exactly, but the Suns obviously called a timeout. They were able to draw up an ATO. And sure enough, they got the ball to Kevin Durant in the corner. He hit a huge clutch three-pointer, buzzer beater, mind you, to send the game into overtime. So although it kind of seemed like the Nuggets were going to win this game to start, from that late third quarter surging into the fourth, man, this game was just absolutely incredible. It was just emotional, and I'm glad I was able to watch it. That being said, in overtime, the Nuggets were just clearly the better team. You could just tell they executed at a much higher level. It just wasn't close. The Nuggets scored off 7 straight points in overtime, and that's really never how you want to start OT. You want it to be a reflection of how you finished the fourth quarter, and the Phoenix Suns just weren't able to do that. And that's really indicative of how this game truly was. I mean, even though Devin Booker put on an incredible performance to essentially get them back into the game, the overtime was really, really telling as to how accurate these two teams really are and how they face against each other. The Nuggets just dominated in overtime, and clearly they're just the better team. And what you realize is when you look at a team like the Phoenix Suns, at the end of the day, yes, they're having a rough season. They have so many moving parts. Their roster has so much turnover the past few years. But at the end of the day, when you have a team that has someone like Kevin Durant, like Devin Booker, like Bradley Beal, so on and so forth, you're going to expect performances like this. You're never going to go into that game thinking it's an automatic W, because that's just not the case. Kevin Durant is too talented. Devin Booker is too talented. Bradley Beal, even though he's very injury prone, he's shown his moments to where he can score on the same level as well. But at the end of the day, the Nuggets are just a better team, and you really saw that come through in overtime. Their execution was just flawless. The two-man game between Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, Christian Braun was still hitting clutch shots. He hit another big three in overtime, and their offense just flows, all right? It's very interesting. If we can kind of lean into Denver a little bit, and mostly Nikola Jokic and his historic performance. Nikola Jokic had a 30, 20, and 20 game last night, and he's the first person in NBA history to do so, which is crazy to think about. If you try to remember all of the all-time greats, roughly over 5,000 players have played in the NBA from its start until its present, and Nikola Jokic is the first to record 30 points, 20 rebounds, and 20 assists in a game. That's just incredible. He actually finished the game with 31 points, 21 rebounds, and 22 assists. And to give you a little bit more insight as to just how crazy this performance was, there's a gentleman by the name of Dan Hyatt. Okay, he runs Hyatt Stats over on X. And he put out a tweet last night, and he said, this is crazy. Check this out. He goes, at 10:22 left in the third quarter, Jokic logged his 29th triple-double of the season. He had 13, 10, and 10 at that moment in time. Then, after logging that triple-double, he had another triple-double, 18, 11, and 12 the rest of the game. So if that doesn't put into perspective just how insane this performance was, I really don't know what else to tell you. The man basically had 2 triple-doubles in one game when you look at it like that, and it is pretty crazy. But what Jokic has done, not only to this Denver Nuggets team, but to the NBA in general, is pretty crazy if you think about it. We've never really had a player like Jokic at the center position who is just the offensive hub for their entire team. At least not quite like the way Nikola does. I mean, he is truly your point center. The offense runs through him because he has the ability to score on the offensive end and to facilitate on the offensive end, unlike anything we've really ever seen, especially for a player at that size. So it really makes you think about conversations like, where does Jokic rank all time? Now, me personally, this whole notion of he needs to be in the top 10 is just kind of crazy. All right. Like, come on. Even the conversation of him being the greatest center ever, I think it's a little bit premature. You know, it kind of devalues these conversations a little bit. When we think about the greatest of all time conversation or who's in your top 10, I think Nick Wright said it the best over on First Things First. He said that, and this was in response to Shaq essentially demanding that Steph Curry be in the GOAT conversation. And he said, listen, if everyone's in the GOAT conversation, then no one is in the GOAT conversation. And I couldn't agree more. I 100% agree. And you can extend that same logic to a conversation like the top 10 or, you know, the greatest point guard of all time, the greatest center of all time, so on and so forth. Nikola Jokic being the greatest center of all time is more of a realistic conversation, and it's something that I'm willing to have. I just don't think he's quite there yet. It's just a little bit too premature. And the point of me saying this is sometimes we tend to be prisoners of the moment. The other day, Steph Curry dropped 56 points. He went crazy from beyond the arc like he usually does. And now all of a sudden, we're putting him in the GOAT conversation. Nikola Jokic has a 30 and 20-20 game, which granted has never been done before. But now you're starting to hear rumblings about him being, you know, a top 10 player all time, or, you know, he's the greatest center of all time, which again, I think in terms of greatest center, that's a more reasonable conversation because what he is doing is pretty phenomenal and he's doing it for an extended period of time. You have guys like Kareem, you have guys like Will Chamberlain, you have those tweeners, that kind of power forward center spot like Tim Duncan. Hakeem Olajuwon, I think, should be in that conversation. So, and another thing about somebody like Hakeem Olajuwon, who I think even to this day is incredibly underrated, he was excellent defensively. And Jokic has never really been known for that. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make here is we can appreciate performances like this and also not go overboard, right? Let's not be prisoners of the moment. It can be fun. It can be entertaining, but someone has to bring this back to reality. But listen, Nikola Jokic had an incredible performance last night. It was super fun to watch. I enjoy watching him play unless he's playing the Lakers. I'm going to tell you that right now. If he's playing the Lakers, I hate his ass. But listen, in general, I love the game of basketball, man. It's a beautiful sport. And what Jokic did last night was absolutely incredible. I mean, and to think that's never been done before, and he just does it so nonchalantly. I think that's one of the things that's so captivating about Nikola Jokic is that he makes it look so easy. And he has this disposition like he almost doesn't care. He genuinely treats basketball like his job. You know what I'm saying? That's his 9 to 5. And then he goes home and he actually does what he really cares about and what he truly loves. Now, obviously, you can't perform the way he does and not love the game of basketball. That's not what I'm saying, but I think you get my point. He has this nonchalant, kind of carefree approach to essentially his work. And we hear about his off-the-court activities and what he likes to do back home. But to see him do these things, man, and he just makes it look so easy. And he causes so many problems for so many teams and so many defenses. You can't help but just appreciate it. And I think it definitely should be celebrated. Whenever you see a performance like this or a moment in history where it's never been done, and with all the great players that have come and gone throughout this league, you just got to take your hat off to him. It was an incredible performance. It was a treasure to watch. And I can sit here and tell you that Nikola Jokic is absolutely an all-time great player. He was drafted in 2014. He's been in the league a little over 10 years now. He's put in the work. He's put in the time, and his hard work is paying off. He's a 3-time league MVP, 1-time finals MVP. They don't just hand those out. That definitely solidifies you in the history books for sure. And this performance is just another reminder of that. So with that being said, let me know what you think in the comments. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you got a chance to see the performance. And if you didn't, just let me know what you think in the comments. And Nikola Jokic making history. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll catch you on the next one. Here.